Welcome back to Wiz's Supercoach. You might have guessed that I'm Wiz, and I'm no longer sick, so I don't sound like Kelly Underwood anymore. Unfortunately, I do sound like myself, so you're just going to have to bear with me. Hopefully you all had a good start to round 3 last night. Wasn't too bad for me and my team. Only saw the second half of the game because I had footy training myself, but I'm not going to get all shorty on you and fill you in on my personal life, so don't worry about that. I thought we could have a quick look at last night's players, and then I'll run you through my trades for the week, and got a couple of interesting little theories in there for you, so see how that goes. Um, so McKenna last night was slightly disappointing with a 57. Wilmot kind of made up for it with the 69. Unfortunately, he's my emergency, so I'm not looking to... Well, I don't think I can anyway, but I wouldn't be looking to loophole that score. One thing I've noticed with these two is that they have a certain size pie and they share the points. They play a similar role, similar position. So in round 1, McKenna scored 93, Wilmot scored 51 for a total of 144. Round 2, the total was 146, with the split being 78 McKenna, 68 Wilmot. And then last night, obviously McKenna 57, Wilmot 69 adds up to 126, so slightly lower. But I think that's because McKenna was well off of his usual disposal efficiency, which is, it's been 80 for the first 2 games. So I think he was high 60s, mid 60s last night. So had he hit targets like he normally does, I think it would have been around the 140 mark again. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. I think you can still have both, but just be aware that that pie is a limited size, and it's just about which one's going to take the share of the pie, which has been McKenna up until last night. Lockie Neal, 117, that's serviceable. Not huge by his standards. As you can see, I vice-captained him because I had a good feeling. It's an awkward one, but I think I'm just going to take it and learn my lesson from round 1 where I didn't take McGovern's 108 and got burnt by Laird's 50. If this season's taught me one thing, you don't know what's going to happen. So I'll play it safe. It is a bit worrying though with Neil. Like his overall scoring is on an upward trend for the season, so that's good. But I have noticed that he's, maybe because of his age, but he seems unable to run out games properly. Like last night again, he was on 90 odd at 3/4 time. So he's flying up until then, and then last quarter fade out. I think he's done it every round this year. I'd have to check that, but I'm pretty sure. He'll still be up there this year, but I think this is his final year of being a uber primo. I think we'll see the drop off now that he's 30 plus. The Bont was quite disappointing. If you looked at his stats, you'd think he would have gone huge. But there was just so many frees and at crucial times. So only 89 in the end, so a bit disappointing. But it's not the end of the world. If that's going to be his floor, that's fine, I guess. Ashcroft 80. I said last week, if he could just keep consistently pumping out 80s, that's all that I really want. I'm happy with that. He'll make a ton of money at that price, so that's all good. And Baker, this dude was just farming scoring assists. So 95, I think he had just under 20 disposals. So I'm stoked with that. And as you can see, Hopper being out for the week works out fine because Baker automatically comes in and I get his score. Dunkley 108. He's not setting the world alight, but he's not doing bad at all. Probably no one saw this coming, but he's actually going to drop in price after this round, but not by much at all. Probably a couple of thousand, so nothing to worry about there. No one picked him for his price anyway. Or what I mean is no one picked him to make money, so that's fine. Now, just some other things from last night's game that I noticed from players that I don't have. Ed Richards is such a ruined pick. Like, I had him in my team all pre-season. I got scared at the last second because of Bevo Salad. And it came true. Like, last week, Bevo, for some stupid reason, played him forward. You've probably noticed that I rant about Bevo a lot in my videos. I just don't like his style. If you want to see a good rant, go watch Hippo, because I'm not going to be doing that. But yeah, Richards tore it up again last night, as he did in round 1. So, unfortunately, you just can't pick him. Like, at that price, he'd be a great pick, but you don't know what Bevo's going to do. If Bulldogs got a new coach, I'd be picking Richards straight away. Harris Andrews, he was a wall last night. They couldn't get past him. Now, he was a pretty good pod a couple of years ago, I think. More so for league rather than overall. I think he had a big second half of a year or something. He looks back to his best. At his price, the way he's scoring, he's probably not the worst shout in the world. But there's way more attractive players at that price. So, yeah, I wouldn't be going there. But it's just one to keep an eye on. McCluggage, another low 60 score. He's now averaging in the low 60s, so he's going to be cheap as chips pretty soon. Definitely another one to keep an eye on. I don't know if it's because Dunkley's in the team and he's stealing his points. I'm hoping that Neil, Dunkley, and McCluggage, after a few games, will work out how things are going to work, and all three of them will go up. And then, if they do, hopefully can jump on McCluggage then, possibly. But again, like Harris Andrews, there's probably better options at that price, but it just depends how cheap he gets. And his teammate Bailey, he's on a 67 average now, so he's another one to keep an eye on. Because he had a pretty good season last year. He's a little bit up and down. I think he's losing midfield time. I haven't checked it, but it looks like he's losing midfield time now to accommodate Dunkley. And who really knows what to make of Brisbane? They're so up and down. Like, Bulldogs aren't any good and they still won, so. For anyone that bought in Crozier, bad luck. No one saw that coming. He was shocking last night with his scoring. I had him in my team at the start of the year, and again, when Yo went down, I took him out. So I'm kind of glad that I did. I didn't think that his floor would be that low. But anyway, if you persist with him, you probably won't see a score that low again. And then Tim English, I've never seen a ruck that stat pads like this dude. Like, he's like Dacos in the ruck or something. Massive average at the moment. I just don't want to touch him because, well, you'll see that I got Cameron instead, but English is more expensive and he's so injury prone. And I got him last year and he really burnt me. Like, I bought him in and then he went sub 100 average for the rest of the year. So I'm just worried that's going to happen again. At the moment, I can't bring myself to grab him. Maybe if I don't know, maybe if one of my other rucks goes down and English is cheap at the time. Or if he's still dominating, then fine. So that's it for last night, I guess. I'll go through my trades now. So I made it my mission to bring in Dacos, like pretty much everyone, because if you don't have him and you've been watching him, it's torture. He's just the biggest piglet ever. So I went against my own rule. I don't normally get rid of primos, but Doherty had to make way because at that price, I'm not confident on him. And I actually have a theory. I think that he is going to drop off and be the next Jake Lloyd. So if you remember, Jake Lloyd dropped off, I think it was 2021 or last year. So he averaged like 122 the year before, and then he's dropped down to just over 100 average. I think that's going to be Doherty. The signs are the same. Like, Carlton were a struggling team, so Doherty did really well on the half back there when they were chipping it around and stuff. Lloyd was the same with Sydney. Sydney was struggling at that time, so they'd play the same game style. Then Sydney started doing really well and climbing up the ladder, and at the same time, Lloyd's points dropped because now there was more mouths to feed. So you had Blakey, I think Campbell back there, McInerney. There was just a whole bunch of guys sharing the points. Now that Carlton are going up the ladder too, it seems like Doherty's points might be dropping off. And they don't need to use him exclusively anymore. They're not chipping it around. And now there's Sard, McGovern, a couple of others back there to feed, even Akers on the wing. And Doherty's not getting the midfield time that we expected. He might this week because Kennedy's injured, but long term, it's not going to happen. So I've drawn that connection between those two. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I have a funny feeling that it is, just with the same trajectory of their teams. And the fact that there's just so many mouths to feed back there. It can't continue forever. And the coaches are always going to put the team before one player. Let me know in the comments if you agree. If you think I'm insane, tell me. I probably am. So I wasn't sure on this one, but in the end I went with my gut. I got in Setterfield for Flanders. Flanders definitely couldn't stay in the team. He's probably going to make a tiny bit of money this week, and then he's going to start losing it. He just hasn't been what I thought he would be, mostly because Gold Coast are terrible this year. Setterfield is getting unbelievable CBAs. St Kilda don't have Steele this week, so I expect Setterfield's going to go big. He'll have it all his own way as the biggest body midfielder in there. Well, at least I hope. So, yeah, you can't ignore that break even. Minus 49. Yeah, just give me that money. And he should score good points in the process. So, couldn't ignore him. Don't want to drop behind the pack any further. And as you can see, I've used another boost, so I have to be aggressive because of the disaster in round one. I don't want to lose the pack and have my season over and make it not worth it after like 3 or 4 rounds. So, got to go aggressive and hope for the best. And then, obviously, Cameron in for Gawn. That really hurt. Gawn was like one of my bullish picks from pre-season when everyone wrote him off because of Grundy. And it looked like a stroke of genius. And then, of course, he got injured. But Cameron's killing it. And with Cox out, he's going to be the solo ruck for a while. So, yeah, at that price, what is he? 465. So, going to him rather than English freed up money to get other things like Dacos done. And I've got money left over, 176 for next week. So, I've got a few ideas of what I'm going to do with that. Hopefully, I can get another defender in. Like, assuming Bose does well this week, I need to get Constable off the field because I don't trust him and I think his spot in the team is on borrowed time. And I don't trust Wilmot or Cowan on the field. So I'm going to have to swing something there, hopefully. As I said, I got a few ideas up my sleeve. Got to have a further look at that though because I'm not willing to reveal them yet. In case I don't even run with them. I've noticed a few YouTubers are doing that. They seem to be throwing out like red herrings and stuff of what they're going to do and then they just don't do it. I don't want to be like that. And just quickly, to finish off, I see a lot of people jumping off Sean Darcy and I think it's a good idea. Like, he was all the rage in pre-season and I had a look myself and I just don't trust him. Now, he had a massive second half of the year in 2021. He wasn't relevant before that. And I don't think he's been too relevant since. Especially with the way Fremantle are now. Now, he went 129 average post-buy in 2021. He had a couple of absolutely massive scores in there, like close to 200, I think. 180s or something like that. Since then, so last year and this year, he's averaged 98 points a game. And now they've added Jackson as well, so that's not a good sign. And to put that 98 average in perspective, Rob from the Crom has averaged nearly 102, and Nank has averaged the same as Darcy. Now, I don't see a lot of people touching those two or talking about them. So I don't see why Darcy is such a popular pick at the start of the season. I know he's got the ceiling, but the odds of seeing him string a bunch of games together like that again are pretty low. Like, especially with Jackson in the team, especially with how Fremantle are. Longmuir doesn't look like he knows what he's doing anymore. So, yeah, I'd be jumping off now. Because you wouldn't pick Rob, would you? But he's averaging better, so... Yeah, let me know what you think. And that's pretty much all I've got. Hopefully the rest of the round goes really well. Usually it does at the start, and then we get to Sunday and everything falls apart. Hopefully not this week. But yeah, good luck, and let me know in the comments what you think of those theories. See ya.